Hey guys, it's Joy here for Honeybee Stamps. Today I'm going to show you how to add some details to a die cut with Copic markers and a gel pen. So the die cut that I'm using today is the super cute Cottage Countryside, and I am die cutting everything from a white cardstock. This is an A2 size piece. I'm going to tape this in place and we are going to get some die cutting going on here, and I've already die cut the clouds. There's 3 clouds, and that is also from white cardstock. I like to use Neenah cardstock, usually for most of my projects when I'm using white cardstock. So now that that is die cut, you'll see how this bottom piece goes. We will trim this apart later, but you've got 2 pieces and it's going to go on an A2 size, and we're going to make a scene card. So on that full A2 size background, I want to create some sun rays, but we're going to really blend it down. So it's going to be pretty stark when we first start out. And there was something that I learned while I was doing this. So I'm just using some tape. I am not trying to make things even because, again, my whole goal is to really blend this out softly. I am using squeezed lemonade and spun sugar, and I do the spun sugar at the bottom and then squeeze lemonade at the top, and obviously when you blend them you're going to get a really nice orange color. So I will say I didn't need to do the pink at the bottom. I could have just done the yellow, because when I blend back over it, I'm going to blend over it with pink and then yellow on top, and then we would have got the orange color. So if you do this, if you repeat this, don't worry about doing the pink, just do the yellow. I did notice it ended up not mattering, but I did notice that my sun rays, some of them did not go down far enough, but when I was all done, it did not matter at all, and I really wasn't super worried about it at the time, so it all worked out great. But I just thought I would be completely transparent with what I was doing and kind of what I was thinking. So we've got a few more to tape here. Again, I'm using the spun sugar at the bottom and then the squeezed lemonade at the top. And this looks really funky right now, but I promise it will look really, really cute. So I've got a couple more to do. I decided to go a little bit further down the sides. After I was done, it probably wasn't necessary because you're not going to see a whole lot of them. So I think it just depends on the look that you're going for and how much you're going to do blending to kind of soften it. So I really wanted the sun rays to be super, super soft. This is going to be a sunset type of sky. So we're doing the pink and the yellow. And now I'm going to start blending this bottom. Right now it looks like a funky tiger stripe, but it turns out really, really good. So this is why right here I could have just done all of those sun rays in the yellow, because I'm coming in with the pink and it's covering it up anyways, and it would have blended with the orange, but no big deal. So I'm blending over, and I am going heavy-handed again because I want this to soften so much that you just barely see the sun rays, but you do see them, and it turned out really, really lovely. I love when you see beautiful skies like that where there's just a little bit of the sun rays. I think it's so pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? Let me do a little bit more blending. I want a little bit more of the orange where the yellow and the pink meet, and then blend a little bit more of that yellow. Then I'm going to add a little bit of that spun sugar, and I mean just a little bit on the bottom of the clouds, almost like it's reflecting that pink part of the sky. So I'm using my blender brush to do it. I thought dipping it into my ink pad would work, but it didn't. The blender brush was definitely the way to go. And we're going to add a little something to that at the end, so definitely stay around to watch that. I'm going to tape this. My original plan was to not cut this apart. Otherwise, I would have just cut it and then done my ink blending. I will use Mowed Lawn and Twisted Citron, and I'm going to be heavy-handed at the bottom and then lighter on this first piece with the Mowed Lawn. And then I can come in with the back piece and I will use Twisted Citron on that. So we're going to get a nice good base ink blending, and then we can come in with the details that I talked about at the beginning with Copic markers and a white gel pen. So this is going to up your level with your die cut. It's going to definitely give it more interest. This already has beautiful embossed images in it anyways, but I thought this would be great to highlight those with Copic markers. So I am using YG 25 and 17. So this is YG 17. And I am highlighting the embossed grassy, like tuft grass areas, the little tufty pieces of grass. And I'm highlighting that with that darker green. I am just kind of flicking into the areas with my marker. It does not have to be super neat, but as you can see, that's already bringing this die cut to life. Now you can really see all of the details. Then with YG 25, I'm just blending at the bottom of those little pieces of grass and blending it out further. And you can see it a little bit. You can definitely tell that there is a darker color there. I want to add some of that same color to this little, I mean, this really could be a road if you wanted it to be, or just like a grassy walkway. And then now I'm going to highlight some of the edges with that darker green, that YG 17. And look at when I did that and then come back in with that YG 25 again. It really makes that walkway, I keep calling it, or trail or whatever it is, come to life. Now you can definitely see it. So using these markers was a huge plus. Then I thought, let's add some flowers to this and give this some color. It's springtime. If you're walking through one of these fields, you are definitely going to see some beautiful flowers. This is R81, so it's a nice pink, and then I'm going to use R05, which is kind of a little bit of an orangey red, but now we're getting some color going on, and doesn't that look so lovely? I loved how this turned out, but when I was doing it, I thought this still needed something else. Like, you definitely can see all of the details in this background, but I needed something else that was going to make this pop, and using a white gel pen for highlights is definitely the way to go. So when I was holding it up to the sky here, I thought, no, we need something else. So where those blades of grass are, I'm just adding a few white highlights. Again, I am not being specific about it. I'm kind of being quick about it. I'm not worried if it's in every little area. I'm just adding some highlights. I'm adding some highlight dots to some of the flowers, those pink and red color flowers, and it just gives you a little something extra. And I thought I would zoom in here so you guys could get a better idea. And it just adds a little brightness to the card, separates out the grass pieces. Isn't that so great? I loved how this turned out. I'm going to add a little bit of highlights next to the road itself, or the trail, and it just gives a little something extra. Okay. Sorry that is not in camera. There you go. Okay, now that that's done, I am going to cut this apart, and I'm going to add foam tape on the front piece, and then the back piece will be adhered directly to that card panel. This is going to give some fantastic dimension. So I'm just trimming that out with my scissors. I can pull off the release paper and then line this up at the bottom of that blended background that we created this beautiful sky on. And then I can tuck this in just a little bit. And I did not get it lined up straight, so I'm going to try it one more time because that is the story of my life. Tuck it in, and look at how pretty that is. Oh, I love it. And I always love dimension on my cards. I will adhere the clouds directly to the background. I thought I might tuck this bottom one in down at the bottom, or this big one in down at the bottom. And once I got the other three clouds in place, I decided I did not like that. So I scooted one off the edge. I'm going to trim that up. I'm going to move this big one up just a little bit. And then we want to add our sentiment. And I thought it would be fun to do white heat embossing because I didn't want something like, I didn't want black ink up there. It would be really dark and harsh, which sometimes I really like that, but not on this project. So I prepped it with a powder tool. I am inking it with Honeybee Stamp's clear embossing ink. This sentiment is from the Look for the Rainbow, and there is coordinating dyes. Obviously, I'm not using that. And then I'm going to heat that with my heat tool until it's melted, but it says, "You showed up after the storm to show me how beautiful life can be." And I thought that was a really sweet sentiment for such a pretty scene card. Okay, I needed something a little sparkly, so I'm using Honeybee Stamp's Be Shimmery watercolor, and I'm just adding it to the bottom of the clouds, you know, the silver lining. And this just gives it a nice little something extra and something shimmery, and the bee shimmery is so gorgeous. So let's take a look at this up close. This is adhered to a white A2 size card base, and look at that shimmer, you guys. It's so pretty. This is a fun little die, and I just love how this card turned out. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.